right. Derry Girls, Season 2, Episode 1.
Said you were building bridges.
Not real bridges, Mommy. Metaphorical bridges.
Then why can't you wear metaphorical
That's
trousers?
Aaron.
Lenny, you're quite be going low. It's because his natural voice is actually very seductive. Apparently he sounds like a West Belfast blonde. As far as English are concerned, a voice like that, well, it's dangerous.
Just so I'm clear, are you saying that the British government dubbed the voice of Gerry Adams because it's too sexy?
It's like a fine whiskey. I have nothing to authority by.
Okay.
Please. No funny business with these Protestant lads, is that clear? I don't want anybody landing back here pregnant.
Not very likely in my case.
No one will also.
Teenage boys can be very convincing, Aaron. I remember your father at that.
End that sentence now.
Yes. Please do.
Creep.
We're not doing this to get off with Protestant boys, Mommy. We're doing this to reach across the divide.
Did your mother get a new big bull?
I don't think so. We're doing this for peace.
All right, Aaron.
Just take it, Orla. These prods have some serious moves up their sleeves, you know. They're not as fucked up about sex as we are. They put the work in. They know what they're doing.
They're people, Michelle. They're not sex toys.
I beg to differ.
I'm really looking forward to making friends with some lads.
Lads aren't gonna make friends with you, James. Lads make friends with other lads.
I am a lad.
So you are, James.
Okay, how many children do we have?
Look, the reign of the Protestants is one thing, but I don't see why we have to buy them a present. I mean, they already have all the land, all the jobs, and all the fucking rights.
Hi, Michelle. That's definitely the attitude we should have entering into this weekend.
It is kind of nice to see them
a few play, but we want to buck these lads.
at least trying to be more congenial about, you know, between the two Protestant and Catholics.
I have an HP pencil.
Happy days.
Hi, guys.
But I wonder how superficial it is going to end up being,
Protestants,
It's just a little.
how much headway they'll actually make.
Is that an Ulster
But we'll get to
Kira?
see
It is
soon.
indeed. Yeah.
I must admit, I had a bit of an advantage when it came to the whole present buying thing because
You're loaded.
I know what they like.
She has an
I
advantage.
happen to be very
Just a
good
bit.
friends with a half Protestant. What?
They don't come in half, so
They do that?
the prods have landed.
That's right. Well, Janet. Michael. Sister Michael. It's a pleasure.
Sister Michael, I need to remember that because I always forget her name. Like I never even like figured out her
Everyone's
name.
so desperate for them to mix. I think we should keep them separate.
I think we should keep them in cages. So, Our Lady Immaculate Girls have been split into groups.
Bees to find bees, etc., and so on. It's very straightforward.
Recognize him. I gotta figure out
However,
who
if that
he is
isn't
because I
clear,
do
feel
recognize
free
him.
to say so.
But know that you will be judged.
Recognize him from. I might figure
Lads,
it
you
out.
really shouldn't have.
I'm starting to see that, all right.
I'm gonna keep mine on my bed, where I sleep, in my knickers.
Right. I mean, these are free for a start. My dad has like 45 of them.
We were told it was an old girls' school. You've been a bit shortchanged there.
Nah, it's fine, mate. It's all good, man. I'll just give it to my bird.
Your bird.
Yeah, she's really fit and stuff.
Right. Okay. Great.
I'm sorry, but is he okay?
Philip's actually deaf
Oh,
in one ear.
he's deaf in one ear.
That's right.
Which ear?
That's actually a very inappropriate question.
Is it?
It is. Yeah.
Apple what?
I'm sorry.
Will you be my buddy, please?
Sure.
Listen, Philip, about the whole which ear thing.
It's fine. We'll be your partner.
Great. Just to be clear, are you a fully blown Protestant?
Of course.
Sister Michael, I don't have a Protestant.
You'll just have to share it, James.
What? No.
Look, there just aren't enough Protestants to go around.
There aren't enough
Me
Protestants to
neither's
go
here.
around.
He's one of your lot.
Not a priest.
Quite young, southern. Bit of an arsehole, but oh my god. Amazing hair.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Oh!
Okay. I want you guys to give me examples of things that Catholics and Protestants have in common and things that they don't have in common.
Their roots are kind of from the same place. Same thing.
Anything at all, a small thing even.
Okay, so, right. I'm actually drawing a blank here, to be honest. Listen, Sir Richard.
Okay, so that's another difference.
Is that
And
true?
I'm not sure that's actually... I mean, is that true?
I would say so.
Yeah, I suppose that's fair enough.
Yes, great. Off you go.
Catholics really buzz off statues and we don't so much.
I do enjoy a good statue, it has to be said.
So again, what we have there is a difference.
Protestants like to march and Catholics like to walk.
Okay, can we just... Jenny, could you just... Oh, you...
More freckles?
Protestants hate ABBA.
Okay, thank you. Let me just rephrase slightly.
Just try to find the common ground within the things that they are saying that is
Sure
different.
about this. I need to find out.
Similarities between Protestants and Catholics as they're the same religion. My understanding is that there is more like of a political and cultural difference than necessarily the religious views.
I love beer, and football, and poker, and you know, tits.
Tits?
Can't get enough of them. Well, then again, I am a lad.
Yeah, you may be a lad, John, but I can offer you protection. I have a hunting knife.
Right, okay.
Wait, where are you going?
Nature's calling.
Whoa! Number 1 or number 2?
Excuse me?
Just answer the question, John.
I don't want to answer the question. I'm not comfortable with the question.
Because if it's a number 2, it's safer to bury it. You don't want a pack of wolves following your scent out in these parts. Those boys, they'll tear you limb from limb.
We're inside.
We really like Catholics too. It's just that we have been conditioned to...
I don't.
What? You don't?
No. I hate them. I think they're all arseholes.
That's not true. That can't be true.
It is. They're all thick as shit. I despise them. Really do.
Okay. So, how do you want to do this? Do you want to kick things off, or should I?
Oh my god, are you coming on to me? Is that what this is?
Took you that long to figure it out?
Breakdown?
He's wearing a purity bracelet. What does that mean? No, down below action. That's what it fucking means. We have to swap. Swap? Yeah, we'll just swap over. You take Harry, I'll take Lee. D, whatever. We can't do that. Why not?
Okay, so when they used the term prod, it made me think of the word prude, and that was one of the things that I thought of. Shame on me, maybe, but one of the things that I thought of when it comes to Protestants, I think, at least in that day and age, was this kind of being a bit prudish. And I think it's something that I kind of struggle with myself these days, is this like part of me that was raised and brought up not necessarily as a prude, but to like think certain ways about sex and about showing your body and things like that, and really feeling embarrassed about dressing a certain way or acting a certain way and things like that. And I'd really like to get out of that. To me, that was something that led me to really feeling shame in a good long portion of my life that I would like to exit from. I would like to stop that feeling of shame and stop feeling like I have to certain things up and I can't wear certain kinds of clothes, then I can't act a certain way and I can't dress a certain way because I was brought up to feel that that was shameful. And that maybe we should really rethink that, because what is it that we're shaming? What is it that we're ashamed about? What is it that we're saying is so bad and so wrong? There's so many terrible things going on in this world today, that some of that stuff that we get really bent out of shape about, that maybe we should really rethink that. Like, really, why do we see that as so bad when there's so many worse things going on in the world today? Why?
Hey, the woman, the small angry penguin woman.
Sister Michael! Oh, good evening, sister. We just popped round because we had a few questions about the British Empire, which the boys have cleared up for us now, so...
They weren't talking about the British Empire, sister. They were having a party. I could hear the music.
You will go far in life, Jenny. But you will not be well liked. Honestly, girls. I need my 8 hours. But I've had Mary Quinn on the phone frying my head, and now this.
What? My mother rang. Why is everything okay?
She was very distressed. She wanted me to pass on a message.
And
What was the
are
message?
you going?
Fine. Erin, I need some information. Can you find out, in a subtle way, if Michelle's mother was given the big bowl by someone she has since fallen out with, and if she can no longer bring herself to look at the big bowl because it's just too painful? All the best, your mother, Mary.
Great trust-building exercise, because what you're doing is you're saying to your buddy, lean on me, I'm here for you. Now, let me see who's first. Claire Devlin. There you are.
I'm not sure about this.
You'll be grand.
No, listen, you don't understand.
Now, where's your buddy? Good mind yourself. Taking the speed of her drop.
I think if it's okay, I'd just like to take a moment and just...
Are you ready, Philip? Oh, yeah. Okay, everybody, so on 3.
Seriously, folks, I'm not feeling entirely comfortable with this.
1, 2, 3.
Shouldn't they have somebody at the bottom controlling
He wants to kill us all
the
the
line?
Catholics. Look at his eyes, he's a madman, a fiendly and hidden madman. Don't let the devil bastard hurt me, please.
Jesus, Claire.
Fuck a diddle day. He said he hated us.
No, I didn't.
Last night, you said you hated Catholics. Admit it.
I said I hated athletes. Not much of a sports fan.
I definitely thought he said Catholics.
Well, I thought we were.
Why would you have thought we were talking about athletes?
Because I'm deaf in one ear.
They're all arseholes.
What the hell's that supposed to mean?
You tried to swap us. Because all Protestants are the same, aren't they, girls?
Yes. No.
And this guy's really creepy and a bit sort of sexist. And she carries a knife that makes people bury their own excrement. Fucking Catholics.
Who said that?
Should we break it up?
Don't touch the head. Don't touch the head.
Let's leave it a minute.
Cranberries. Not Sinead O'Connor. Everybody, so that was season 2, episode 1 of Derry Girls. I did go ahead and look up the young boy John, the Protestant that I recognized, because I was like, I have definitely seen this kid. Okay, so the first thing that I realized after looking him up is that he was in Game of Thrones. He was Ollie, but this was earlier than the image I was recognizing. The image I was recognizing was much more recent, because he was also in Alex Rider, which I think was in 2021. Game of Thrones was long before then, so he was much younger. And I believe in Game of Thrones, he is the person. Okay, this is going to be a spoiler, so if you do not want to know certain things about Game of Thrones, you may want to skip past the next, I don't know, 10 or 15 seconds. But I'm thinking he was the young kid that kind of stabbed Jon Snow in the back, which is sad. And the character that I was recognizing, though, not from Game of Thrones, from Alex Rider, I am glad to say was more like, I think he was Alex Rider's friend. I enjoyed that character. I enjoyed the character. Not that little Ollie was completely terrible, but it was really sad what Ollie did. But I am glad to see the change and shift in character that existed in his character in Alex Rider. And I don't remember his name when he was playing in Alex Rider, but I do remember him being a decent person, a decent character. So And that is definitely what I was recognizing him from. Okay, so let's see what happened in this episode. The kids were all going to this kind of like camping activity, but they were trying to bridge some of the gap between the Protestant kids and the Catholic kids. And of course, as the show goes on, we see that does not work out. As usual in Derry Girls, there's all these preconceived notions that both sides have about each other, and those preconceived ideas seem to take over in their reactions and how they behave, how they act towards the people in the show. And I would hope that in real life that maybe their reactions wouldn't be so obvious and so extreme, but I know that those kinds of misinformation and misunderstanding, misconceptions about people do cause real strife and real division in real life today, yesterday, in the future. It happens all the time with a variety of people, and so it's not surprising really at all that is occurring there. It's not surprising at all that occurs in real life in those particular situations. We frankly just do not know enough about the people that we do not know. If we do not go out of our way to actually try to get to know other people that are from different walks of life, from different cultures, from different backgrounds, then a lot of times we only get the little bit of information that we get from the people that we know in our family, the people on the media, what we see in the news, and it's just such a very small glimpse of those other diverse people. And too often, if you're really like secluded from certain diverse groups, then you may know nothing about them. And if they are an isolated, protected group, or a group that is hard to talk to, hard to see, I don't know, like a news reporter, or you're an activist and you're trying to learn more about people in the trans community, that may be something very difficult, because they're not necessarily going to trust you, because you're not going to necessarily be able to easily find them either. And because for safety reasons, they often may not openly notify anybody outside of their immediate group that they are trans. Situation where you're talking about Protestants and Catholics that seemingly live like very close to each other, that seemingly, maybe for us Americans on the outside looking in, we might think that, oh, well, they should really know these people better because they're like their next door neighbors. They're very close to each other. They're within what we see as the same country. Now, from my understanding, at various times in history, the Protestant section and Catholic section were separated to an extent to where they considered themselves separate countries. And from my understanding, the actual legal definition right now, they are separate, or at least Northern Ireland is a separate country from Southern Ireland. And so, and my understanding also is that people that live there don't always agree with that. They see them as, they may see them as the same country, but from my understanding, legally, legally there are certain organizations, certain groups and countries that do call them separate countries, whereas other people consider all of Ireland one country. So it's an interesting rabbit hole to go down that I and a few other people have gone down, I think, since starting to watch Derry Girls. But it also, when you hear people who disagree with it, it also kind of shows some of that division that exists, where some people think one way and some people think another way. But yeah. The other big thing that comes up is that some of the girls have the idea that they are going to be doing this for sex and not for what its original intent and purpose was, which was to bridge these gaps. And of course, some of the Protestant kids that are there are not seeing this as what they are seeing it for, as something to have sex or whatever. And either way, the one boy, he presents to the girl that he seems to be very attracted to, which is Michelle. She always seems to be this kind of way. And I can't say that I completely dislike people like that, but I definitely have a negative opinion, I think, towards people like that to an extent. But then again, I also think that, people should be able to make their own decisions. I just think Michelle gets a little carried away. So not really that I dislike her so much, but some of the stuff she does to me is a little over the top, and I feel like she should just tone things down a little bit. I can't say that I'm not judgmental. I think we are all a little bit judgmental about certain things, and so some of that I am, and I try to do better. I try to think better, and like I said, I feel like Michelle she goes a little over the top with it. But anyway, the boy seems to like her, but he's like, oh, look, I've got this purity bracelet, and so I think a lot of us know what that means. Maybe a lot of you who have never been in that kind of religious culture might not have a clue, but I think for the most part, a lot of people understand that idea of purity culture is about promising to keep yourself pure, untouched, innocent, whatever you want to call it, not having sex until you are married. I think for most religious sects and cultures, that's the idea, is that you wait until you're married. A contradiction or a bit hypocritical within the purity culture is this idea that that it is completely looked down upon to have sex, have intercourse outside of marriage or before marriage. Yet there doesn't seem to be any of that when it comes to making out, having oral sex, things like that, and I see that as a bit hypocritical. But who am I to judge those people? They're in that situation, they're making the decisions for themselves. Their own decisions. But it does bother me that I do think some of that is very heavily pushed and not necessarily the person's full choice. When you're coerced into things, or you're convinced, or you're being convinced by leadership or adults or authority figures that you have to be a certain way, even if you don't want to be that way, that to me is coercive and a bit disturbing. But this person is like, no, look, this is the deal. I have made this oath, this promise that I will keep myself pure, and so having sex with Michelle is not part of that. I did seem to have a little bit of struggle understanding where they were going with trying to trade the boys, because even though the one person specifically stated that they have this purity culture thing going on, the other person didn't seem to be at all into what Aaron was proposing either. So I'm not sure why they were trading off. What did they think they were really getting? Like, you're getting the same kind of thing, except for one person is swearing that this oath of purity where the other isn't, but they still seem to be not for it, not going for it. So, and I am very adamant that people should have autonomy over their own body and their own life. So if you are pushing somebody to do something that they really don't want to do, that they really don't agree with, that they really think is wrong for whatever reason, or even they just don't want to do it right now, whatever reason it is, they could have no reason whatsoever. If they aren't up for it, they aren't ready to do it, then it shouldn't be pushed on them. And so that's how I kind of feel about that. Gracious, the sister, the nun that I never seem to remember her name. Even though they said her name, I still don't remember it. So I am going to have to really get on that. But at least it's in my video, so I'll be able to go back and see what her name was, see myself repeating it. I have a brain injury, so some of my short-term memory is a problem, which I think you notice throughout my videos when I can't remember people's name and I can't remember half stuff that was going on, a few minutes before that. That is this struggle that I have with a frontal head injury from an auto accident that I had a while ago, long while ago. And there's other things that I have no problem remembering whatsoever. I think it depends on what kind of thing it is. Like if it's something that's really important to me, it really had a real impression on me, I'm a lot more likely to remember it. But there's just certain things that escape me much easier, and learning people's names is definitely harder for me. And I don't know, I feel like maybe I don't hear her name as much, so maybe that's part of it. Maybe that's part of why I don't even remember hearing her name before most of the time. And when I did hear the name and I repeated it, it's still not there. It's still not there in this noggin of mine. And so I will need to really access that more so that I can actually retain what her name is. And I am also confident that many of you will bring it up in the comments. And so as I hear it more and more in the comments, I will definitely start to retain that. Okay, let's see, anything else? Gosh, there was that preacher, Peter again, I think is his name, that all the girls seem to really like and think is so handsome. And I loved the comment that the sister made. Was it Sister Mary? I don't think it was Mary, but I'll go back, because now that's the name that my brain is trying to tell me, so I'll go back and figure out what it is. But the sister, when she pointed out his hair, and that it's obvious that he doesn't have access to the best hairdresser anymore because he had taken a sabbatical to, I guess, get over the hairdresser that he was involved with for a while, or really liked, and from last season. So but I'm gonna stop. I think that I've talked enough about the kind of things that went on in the show. It was another good episode. I did enjoy it. And I do enjoy seeing that sister. And And even though I could not remember who I had, like where I had seen John, it was like I was so excited, and I was so excited that I saw him, that I recognized him, but couldn't remember who he was. But I did remember, like, I liked that person. I liked that person. I liked that character. So I thought that was kind of nice that, you know, I mean, like, even the Game of Thrones thing, Ollie for most of Game of Thrones was a good character. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't until that point, you know, that things took a turn, took a seriously sad, horrible turn for the worst. But hey, Jon Snow came out of it all right in the end. It was just, took a little while. Okay. I hope you all have a pleasant day. I am going to try to make these videos a little more speedy. I think I had talked about that earlier, but I don't know if I'm going to trim that out. I'm going to try to make the season 2 episodes more quickly so that I will have more time and energy to work on my reaction videos once the House of Dragon starts. Plus, I still have not even started doing my reaction to the little teaser cast member thing that I wanted to do. So I need to make some time for that. I did start doing my reaction and recap of The Handmaid's Tale Season 5 teaser trailer. So I got the reaction done. I'm working on the recap. I got lots of images that I pulled from the video, and I think it's gonna go, you know, I think it's gonna go pretty well. I'm pretty much just doing like the reaction to the teaser trailer first, and then I'm going to kind of slow things down and present the images and just talk off the top of my head, talk about some of the things that I'm thinking, some of what that imagery hopefully is telling us, and, you know, kind of thinking about, oh, well, what really will happen, because it's exciting. I'm so excited. And if you don't have any freaking cares about Handmaid's Tale or House of Dragon, you're just here for Derry Girls. I get it. I understand. That is great. But these are 2 things that I do plan on doing in the future. So if you like that stuff, you know, come along once I start publishing it. If you have subscribed and you know, and clicked the all, you know, see all my things, then when I actually start publishing that stuff, then hopefully you'll see it. I will see you next time on Season 1, Episode 2 of Derry Girls, and see you then. Bye!